Men, women, children, lend me your ears. I have come to introduce to you a new reading program that is designed to increase your want and desire to read. There are no forms to fill out, and there's no qualifying to become part of this new program. Simply pick up something and begin reading it, and you will become part of the Up to No Good reading program. I use the words pick up something instead of pick up a book for a reason. Telling someone to pick up a book and read it is not going to draw a lot of attention. Now, I'm not suggesting that you make a schedule to sit down and read something, but if you are already disciplined in that, please continue to do so. Most people do not read unless they must. I am suggesting that everyone try to read as much of anything and everything that you come into contact with. Flyers, billboards, signs, posters, etc. What the Up to No Good reading program will do for you is increase your ability to understand what it is that you're reading. Quite often we tend to not read everything that we should read, or we read it through and simply do not understand what we have read. This is why this program is not just aimed at school-aged children, but adults as well. If it is not our business or profession to read often, or if we do not already enjoy reading, then we do not do it unless it is necessary. And reading is always necessary. The reading and comprehension concept is so simple to understand, but for some, it can be so difficult to achieve. To comprehend and remember what you have read is not an ability that if you are not born with it, then you cannot acquire it. Reading and comprehending is like riding a bike. Of course, we're not born knowing how to ride a bike. The more we practice, the better we become at riding. The main reason I reference reading and comprehending to riding a bike is because once you learn, you never forget how to do it. But the key is learning it first. There's also no age limit to the Up to No Good reading program. It is never too late to begin to read more often and by choice, and to purposely read to understand. Modern technology has put us all in a position where we have become more dependent on computers and less dependent on our own innate ability to remember and store memory. For example, we don't memorize phone numbers like we used to do 15 to 20 years ago. The cell phone has become the Rolodex, and we neither have these numbers in our heads or written down. We have left it up to technology to think for us, and the sad result of it is that some parents are not equipped to help their own children with their schoolwork. We have blamed it on being too busy in our everyday life to put forth the efforts to make sure that our children understand their curriculum. We only become concerned when we as parents see the bad grades and end up at school talking to teachers. And that is if we are fortunate enough to have the school be concerned enough to contact us. Now, I'm not shining light on these infirmities in our system to put down any individual parents or schools. These are the facts and I hope motivation that is needed to excel at the Up to No Good reading program. I will briefly give 4 specific benefits of the Up to No Good reading program. However, personal benefits from this program will be endless. First, it is necessary. Being able to read and comprehend is not just an attribute that is good to use when you deem it necessary. It is never not necessary to need to be able to understand what you are reading. There are countless benefits to being able to read and comprehend. However, there are 0 benefits to not being able to. Just to make it from the kindergarten to the 12th grade requires your reading ability to have to increase year after year. Bad reading habits early on will only lead to your work becoming harder to understand and complete. Falling behind in reading and comprehending will have a negative impact on all of your other subjects. You will not make it through school not knowing how to read and comprehend. You cannot start out as an adult this way. Eventually, you will need to work. Second, the Up to No Good reading program will help broaden your limited knowledge. Reading often and by choice will ultimately pique your interest in things that are completely out of the confined and closed-in spaces that we dwell in on a daily basis. We all like to believe that we are somewhat global in our knowledge of this world that we live in. Truth is that we once again depend on the media to keep us up to date. The internet does a great job of making available just about any information that you choose to look for. Any form of reading means that you are up to no good. I'm not encouraging anyone to spend more time at the computer than you already do. Do not spend less time neither. The Up to No Good reading program is encouraging people to read everywhere. Read anything and everything that you come into contact with, and read to understand. Third, this program will help reduce and or eliminate being shy or timid. As you continue to read more often and begin to understand what you are reading, you will become more skilled at reading anything and everything that you come into contact with. You will begin to read material with more substance, and your benefits will start to become more noticeable. How can the Up to No Good reading program help reduce and or eliminate being shy or timid? Well, I just explained the first part. Your benefits will start to become more noticeable. People will begin to notice the difference in your knowledge and confidence. Some will tend to lean on you more and desire more of your attention. At this stage of your progression, I hope that you will encourage others to become part of the Up to No Good reading program. All they have to do is to pick up something and begin reading it with the intent of understanding what has been read and to continue on that path of comprehension, and they will turn to you for direction. Fourth, the Up to No Good reading program is completely free of any cost ever. The concept of reading to understand and reading anything and everything that you come into contact with is very simple to understand and execute. However, I understand the difficulty of getting people motivated to do something that they are not receiving direct benefits or recognition from, such as grades and scores or payment. The Up to No Good reading program is designed to put you into competition with your best opponent, yourself. Although I cannot ride, I remember teaching my son how to ride a skateboard. He said to me, "I wish I was as good as those guys over there." I immediately explained to him that what he has to do is to continue practicing and to make sure that he gets better than the person that he was yesterday, or last week, or last year. He grasped that concept and continued to get better than what he was. I began to see his outward show of confidence, and I rejoiced in his triumph. Because there are no grades or scores or documented levels of advancement, there are also no forms or memberships to be concerned about. As I've been stating throughout, this program cannot be any easier to carry out. The final thing that makes it almost impossible to not become part of the Up to No Good reading program is that there is never any cost. There is no one that you should need to pay in order for you to be able to read and understand anything and everything that you come into contact with. The only requirements are that you open your eyes and your minds. Before I end, I would like to say one final thing, and I must confess, it was the removal of my own children from private to public schools that played a major role in me creating the Up to No Good reading program. It was that self-fulfilling prophecy that I believed that a child would not receive the same level of education from a public school as opposed to a private school that compelled me to become more involved in my own children's curriculum. When we pay for schooling, I believe we tend to look more for the teachers, the after-school programs, and the tutoring to do it all for us. But we as parents, in our own responsibility, need to make certain that we understand what it is that we expect our children to understand, whether they attend private or public schools. The Up to No Good reading program will ensure that parents are equipped to answer the questions that their children ask them, instead of saying, "Look it up on the web," or "Ask your teacher tomorrow." We as adults, whether parents, teachers, or other influential figures, are responsible for who our children become. It is simple. They are wrought by us.